So I'm Dave McGowan. I'm an instructor with the Wildlife Filmmaking course. I'm an Academy Award nominated filmmaker with 30 years experience in documentary film production. My clients are government agencies and not-for-profit organizations. The vast majority of my career has been conservation and environmental films. So a number of years ago, I was in Windi, Uganda, for a client, EnviroVet, when I met the veterinarian, Dr. John Bosco Nzezi. And he told me about his experiencing monitoring the mountain gorillas, monitoring their health and so forth. And one day he was out in the forest and he saw a silverback keel over and die. And he said, that's not remarkable. But what happened next was really remarkable. The body was surrounded by females and juveniles, he said, in what was an unmistakable morning rite. And he had never seen that before. He went back to the office, talked to his colleagues. They had never seen it before. And he checked the literature. There was nothing in the literature about it. And he said to me, if I had a camera and the skills to use it, it would have been international news and a boon to science. He said, you've got to come back here and teach us basic filmmaking skills. And I promised I would. After I started the class, I came across this quote from E.O. Wilson, and I thought it really exemplifies what we're trying to do here. Bring more people into the global discussion about conservation and wildlife management. So wildlife veterinarian Julius Naziza introduced me to his friend, Greg Bakunzi. And Greg offered his Red Rocks Initiative compound to conduct the wildlife filmmaking class in Muzanzi, Rwanda, just outside of the Volcanoes National Park in 2022 and 23. And the class was designed to bring basic filmmaking skills to rangers, trackers, and guides. So the pilot class was 2022. You know, I'd never done this before, so it was just an idea. And this was a pilot project. And the proof of concept was in the films that the class produced. So the group consisted of a wildlife veterinarian, several bird guides, and local people that were interested in conservation. The pilot course lasted 3 weeks, covered all phases of filmmaking, idea development, production, editing, distribution. The class produced 2 films, One Health Rwanda and Birding in Rwanda. And it was notable to me that the first film that the class decided they wanted to make was about this topic of One Health, which is a relevant topic, especially in this age of pandemics. I purchased all the appropriate equipment in the US and brought it to Red Rocks, and the equipment's permanently stored in Rwanda for students to continue producing films. The class required no fees from the students. In addition to film production instruction, I arranged Zoom presentations each week with a wildlife veterinarian, National Geographic filmmakers, and National Park personnel. And the picture here is Dr. Val Beasley, the guy that started the EnviroVet program. And it was great because the students were able to interact with the presenters, and it made them feel connected to the larger conservation world. The class made several trips to habitats nearby. They practiced practical skills like how to carry a tripod and a camera, how to record nature sounds, how to conduct an interview. And they also learned about the ethics of and safety of wildlife filmmaking. 30 years of experience working in wildlife filmmaking gave me the knowledge of what kind of equipment to buy. Some equipment you can buy on the cheap. You can get it secondhand. Other pieces, you've got to just pay top dollar. And it's really important to know those distinctions when you're building an equipment package. The students helped each other. This was fun. So I would break up the lectures into 5-minute segments and stop. And the students that were proficient in English would then explain in Kinyarwanda to the students that weren't as good with English as the others. And it was a great way to confirm the information for the ones that spoke English well. And it was also a great way for the class to rely on one another. So it wasn't a competitive environment. It was a very cooperative one, and it led to a strong class cohesion. The instruction really emphasized hands-on approach to learning. Students were encouraged to handle the equipment, get acquainted with its functions. In addition to knowing what buttons to push, the students develop muscle memory. When you heft a tripod on your shoulder, what it feels like. When you hold a boom pole, what that feels like. And those are important skills to have when you're out in the bush trying to film wildlife. Editing is, the heart of filmmaking, and the students learn to film or learn editing skills on Final Cut Pro. It's an application, and it's an industry standard. I brought a laptop with an external hard drive in 2022. It's still there, and I intend to bring a desktop Mac Mini when I come next time. And that's important because Greg has gone ahead and built an edit suite at the Red Rocks compound. And that's great because what Greg and I want is his compound to be sort of the epicenter of wildlife filmmaking, a place where the community can gather and talk to each other and talk about projects and so forth. Interviews are really important. It seems easy, when you're watching it on a film, but it's actually a rigid setup. And the students learned how to develop the questions, how to conduct themselves during the interview, keeping eye contact, that sort of thing, mic placement, and how to position the interviewee in the shot. But the really hard part about editing is going into transcripts. And these guys, they did the interviews, sometimes 20, 30 minutes of interview, and they typed it up. Some of the interviews were in Kinyarwanda. They typed it up. We made copies of the transcripts, and they learned how to tease out memes from those transcripts and to piece them together to take a long interview and put it into a concise, cohesive sequence. The students learned how to upload to YouTube. I probably shouldn't say it. A lot of the students are way ahead of me on internet functions. But we went over the tools that YouTube supplies so that they know how their films are doing. And I also asked them to ask other people to embed their films on other websites, and that increases the audience and keeps the message into the conservation world. The success of the 2022 class led to a more robust class in 2023. The syllabus was perfected, my teaching skills improved, and the students produced 2 more films, Viridiana, Traditional Healer, and Planet Birdsong in Rwanda. The students also used their skills to make some films for local businesses, and they got paid for it. Not a lot of money, but they got paid. Viridiana is that little lady standing next to me. She's a traditional healer from a local village, and goes into the forest and picks certain plants and so forth. A really interesting concept. So Planet Birdsong is a British NGO, and they contacted the class to produce a film about their effort to teach the Rwandan birding community how to record bird sounds. Planet Birdsong's ultimate goal is to start collecting a database of bird sounds around the world. So the students collaborated with Hilary McBean to craft an excellent short film that is used by Planet Birdsong to train people in avian sound recording. The students impressed upon me that they would like to have a certificate, so Greg and I came up with a certificate, and anybody that completed the class got a certificate that they could show potential employers. I continue to engage with the students through weekly Zoom meetings. We discuss current projects, opportunities, grant opportunities, plans for the future. I urge them to practice their skills and investigate conservation issues in their communities. Several of the students ended up volunteering with the Kigali Film Festival. So in 2023, I wrote up a proposal for a ranger exchange between Nyungwe National Park and the Great Smoky Mountains. And in 2024, the Park Service made it happen. And in August of last year, the Rwandan film team went to Nyungwe to film Alcine Musigwa, a trail manager, before he left for the States. And then I traveled to Tennessee to film him in the Smoky Mountains. And Alcine was just really impressed with how open and friendly and welcoming the people at the Great Smoky Mountains were. And it was good for me because one of my goals is to strengthen the links between the American and Rwandan conservation people. So as you had mentioned, in an era of pandemics, the communities around national parks are the front line in preventing the next pandemic. And to this end, the students have developed a proposal to produce a One Health film in Kinyarwanda to screen for the people who live closest to the wildlife. These communities are peopled by, they don't speak English. They have limited access to the internet. So really the only way for them to find out about this important concept is for a former student and wildlife veterinarian, David Nibishaka, to visit those communities with a portable screen and show the film in Kinyarwanda. If you show a film in these villages on a weekend, you're going to get a crowd. And so it's a great way to reach people that may have been unreachable before, and have a discussion about what One Health is, because they are the first ones. If they see something hinky going on with health, they may prevent the next pandemic. Plants or wildlife. So the National Herbarium of Rwanda contacted us about producing a documentary. I'm not going to try to say the Latin name, of the world's smallest water lily. And it's endemic to Rwanda. They thought it was extinct in the wild until late 2023 when they found it again. And so the herbarium would like to tell the world about this great conservation success, that the plant is protected in the wild. And the students are in active discussion with herbarium about the project and hope to film it in June or July of this year. The Rotterdam Zoo and Botanical Garden, who have the water lily and are propagating it, have shown interest in supporting our efforts. So some of the students, this is Leonard. He took his wildlife filmmaking skills and he joined a group called Eco Restoration Alliance. And they came to Uganda last month, and Leonard was helping with logistics, but he was also taking footage and doing interviews. And so he's creating a documentary about their efforts in bringing sustainable farming practices to farmers in those countries. Roger Irakozy is just finishing up his third movie for Planet Birdsong. They were in Nyungwe in February to look for a rare bird, the Shelly Crimson Wing, and Roger made a film about the expedition. Unfortunately, they didn't see the bird, but it's still I've seen the rough cut, and he's done an excellent job. I think it's going to be available later this week. So in my work, I use Getty Images a lot. You know, I'll send them requests for images of coral reefs and so forth. And one of the filmmakers, Oscar Mugisha, he's a guide in Nyungwe, and he's been working with the film team, so he knows about cameras, and he's been sending me shots that he's done of chimpanzees in Nyungwe. And they were good. He's doing a great job. And it got me thinking, like, I should talk to Getty about this. And so on this last Monday, we had a meeting between the Getty offices in London and Texas with park personnel in Nyungwe about ways that they might generate some revenue by licensing their footage. Getty was excited. They thought it was a good idea. And yeah, it might work. I don't know. We'll see. So word of the class has reached outside of Rwanda. The Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute in Katwe, Uganda, wants to have the class in May next month. So that's really important to me because you know, I had promised Dr. Nazesi I would return to Uganda, and this is the way to do it. And it's a wonderful opportunity to offer filmmaking skills to rangers at the beginning of their careers. So it's one of their tools in their toolbox about, you know, for their jobs. And their responsibilities are evolving with technology. And it's, you know, the Institute deserves a lot of credit for taking this proactive role of adding filmmaking to that skill set. Big thanks to EarthTeam for providing this opportunity to share the wildlife filmmaking class with their team members. A strong team amplifies each of our individual efforts. And thanks to Freeland for being our fiscal agent in our search for foundation money. The challenges for the rest of this century, you all know, are immense, but it's really comforting to know that there's groups like this out there and that we're not alone. And hopefully what we accomplish will pay dividends for the natural world long after we're gone. So our goal is to secure long-term foundation funding to sustain and expand the classes for rangers across the globe. That's it's a big ambition. We have a crowdfunding campaign at Indiegogo that's provided so far some short-term funding. I encourage people, if you're interested in helping us, use the QR code there. And that's my contact information at the bottom of the page, and also the Rwandan filmmakers website. And the Rwandan filmmakers are on this call, so if people have questions, they're here to answer them. Thank you all so much. This is really a great opportunity to share what we've been doing. And it feels really good not to be working in a silo. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Excellent presentation. And I know we've got people here who've got questions and comments, particularly some of the filmmakers, but everybody, I think you can rest assured, we all big believers in storytelling as a critical element of what we're trying to do and advocate and implement planetary health. And as you mentioned, just one comment and a question before I turn it over to the bigger crowd here. When we first talked, you made a good point that a lot of times it's, very good professional film teams that get out there to the front line and capture the beauty, capture the challenges, etc. But they're not from there. And oftentimes, the people living right there may not even see the product that they made. It may not be delivered in their own language, etc. So now, you're not only arming the front line to take these films, but as you showed, they're even going into local communities and presenting them and talking about them. So that, I think that's great. And the other comment is we're inviting Dave to, join us at the Freeland Film Festival, some of these Ranger films to be submitted, and hopefully Dave can come up and we can profile some of those at the fest in September, and then promote those globally. My question to you, Dave, before we turn over to others is, do you also train your students in just using their phones to make films and converting that over to the Cut Pro when there's no cameras available?
The skills, the filmmaking skills, whether it's a professional camera or whether it's a phone, are the same. And the guys have, I shouldn't say the guys, there are some women too. The people, the filmmaking students, have already adapted that. Leonard made a really good film about the Cope. I forget which one it was. It was a conference, a Cope conference in Dubai, and he made a short film. He did the interviews. He knew how to make the questions. The interviews looked good. He worked from a transcript to try to boil it down to a concise movie, and he did a really good job.
Great. Who wants to go first? We've had a couple people put their hands up before. Any comments or questions for Dave here? And as you mentioned, Dave, it's not just Rwanda. I know your website said that, but now you're going into Uganda, and sounds like there's been some other places that are taking notice, and hopefully it goes global like your vision. Anybody? Bruno, I see your finger up.
Yep. Thank you, and good to see you, David, this morning. It's great to have that presentation. I just wanted to follow up on what Steve talked about, which is to use cell phone to do some short films and so forth. And I wanted to mention that one of the things that I'm doing in terms of knowledge management, which is trying to capture best practices. And that's something that we teach a course. In fact, we'll be in Thailand in May, actually, to do that. But we teach students to use their cell phone to actually record some best practices. So as you document a best practice, which is a solution in our vernacular with the EarthTeam, you not only document from an analytical point of view what has worked and so forth and why, but it's also very good to have some short video clips to illustrate the solution. So I think it's a win-win to think about filmmaking and editing and so forth, but also with this perspective of bringing about solutions to particular problems as we face them. But thank you so much for presenting. It's great to see you.
Thanks.
Rich, executive producer of Freeland Film Festival. Go for it. Also from Chicago.
David, nice to see you again, and thrilled to hear your presentation. I'm wondering, when you talk about solutions in terms of you are teaching rangers in distant places, and you've talked about some of the success stories that you've had. Can you talk about some of your most remote teachings and how some of the success has been disseminated to places farther than you would have thought could happen? I mean, you've tied to EarthTeam and trying to expose what you're doing more and also get the word out. But it seems to me in this time when information is questioned so much, a professional documentarian who translates his skills to teaching is really a wonderful thing and should be having great reach.
Well, yeah, it's you can tell from looking at me, you know, my best years are maybe behind me, but it's important to me at this point to be able to transfer, you know, my experience to the next generation. And the people in developed countries, the US, Europe, the resources are there that the students can find, you know, a university to teach them these skills and so forth. So I thought where my effectiveness would be the greatest would be with people that don't have that access and people that have shown a commitment and interest in conservation. That's why I did this. I mean, to be a filmmaker and to plant your flag in the environmental conservation world, that's tough. That's a narrow niche. And so to go and find those people, then this is what's fun about it, is that here I am in the United States, and I was struck with biophilia as a kid. And why it happens, I don't know. It's not like it was nurtured. It wasn't like my parents were really deeply into it, but something in me made me want to be out in nature. And I followed that with my career. When you're in the States, you know, and you bring it up, it's sometimes you feel like you're kind of a weirdo or a tree hugger is, you know, one of the epithets. And so you learn to kind of keep it to yourself. But then I go to Rwanda, you know, a different culture, different people. And I find that there's biophiliacs in Rwanda, and all that other stuff just melts away. And we just are just digging about being out in nature. And that's the spirit that I hope to capture and make filmmakers out of the same kind of people. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Very good. And yes, it does.
You know, the challenge for me internally is that, you know, I know how hard it is in the States to support yourself by being a conservation filmmaker. Now I'm going to Rwanda where, you know, the daily wage is far below what it is in the United States. And so I'm offering them these skills. It's always in the back of my head, how can we make some revenue? How can they get some money by doing this? And so a big part of what I've been trying to do, from like introducing them to Planet Birdsong or the National Herbarium of Rwanda or Getty Images, looking for any sort of vector, some path that can produce revenue from the skills that they're learning from me.
Great. Anybody else? And Dave, feel free to bring in
Well,
one
you
of
know,
your.
I think if one of the guys, maybe Leonard, he seems to be the most gregarious. Maybe Leonard can chime in about, you know, what impact the class has had. Are you there, Leonard?
Yes, great.
There.
Hi, thanks. Thanks, Dave. Um, I think I don't know what to say because you said it all, but from the experience that I got, because I've been working with some organizations, but to be honest, I've been interested in storytelling and the work I've been volunteering as in the storytelling program through some, organizations. And when I've seen that David is going to come to Rwanda, I was really interested to know how now I can use, I can get some skills on doing films, like short films, either using a phone or camera, so that, I should be able to scale the stories around in nature because I'm a conservationist. And then, after getting the skills, I think it's totally changed my, way of thinking and the way I'm doing my things because I use the skills in my career either because I'm working with Eco Restoration Alliance and even if I'm helping them to do social media work, but also like the recent work that David said is that I'm going to use my skills to help them, to do a promotional video from the work we did in Uganda and Kenya from the trip because we were interested in doing some trips around regenerative agriculture, which is also my interest. So capturing all those footages and share the story to the people, that's all my interest. And I think it's really powerful, having the skills to do this, to use materials. And again, the short movie that I made from Dubai, because I got chance to go to Dubai for a climate conference, COP28, and then I say, oh wow, I have skills to do films and to share stories. Then I use my phone, as Bruno was saying, I use my phone to interview people, to do everything. And then when I come back, I do editing, I publish the movie, and for me, it's really great, And I think even my other classmates are really glad for having these skills. And I've been contacted by many people say, oh, wow, you are doing amazing work. How can you help us? So I think it's really powerful, effective, and I'm so grateful for David for what you are doing and for people who are supporting. So in short, I think, sorry if I
Thanks,
talk too
Leonard.
much.
Yeah. I'm not sure if she's on the call, but it would be great to hear from Hillary McBean about her work with Roger. Maybe Hillary's not on the call. I can't
Seeing
tell.
a,
Hillary McBean.
I'm not seeing a Hillary.
Oh, okay. I thought she had signed up. She didn't make it. Maybe Joseph from the birding community because birding is a big deal in Rwanda. Are you there, Joseph? Okay. He was there, but internet
Hello.
connectivity is
There's Joseph right there.
He's here.
oh great.
Can you hear me, please? Hello.
I can, yeah, okay. There he is.
Yeah.
Let me introduce Joseph is one of the premier up and coming bird guides in Rwanda. He is really on his game.
Thank you
Welcome,
so
Joseph.
much. I'm glad to be here today. And thank you for David and the team to organize this conference. I'm glad that all organization, all people, they are doing good work for conservation. I would like to mention two things because my power is really low. I can cut off as soon as possible. So actually, as David said a lot about our experience and what we learned, but the same issue he mentioned on the last point about how to get revenue from our skills we learned. It's some matter we used to think about every time we join the class. Come on.
Uh-oh. Something. Oh no. Oh well. Is Babaji on the phone on the call? Babaji is out of Nigeria, and he contacted me recently too about extending the class to Nigeria. I thought he might have been able to give us a comment.
See him. Yeah, we're not seeing him. we do try to finish up at the top of the hour, although some people might be able to stay a little longer, but just so we make sure we hit a couple points before people leave. First of all, I just want to thank Dave for coming and presenting. It was really good. Like other town halls, this has been recorded, so you'll be able to share it with people as well. I also want to recognize, we got Rudy here from the U.S. National Park Service, which I know he's very much behind and has been for decades on park to park and ranger to ranger exchanges and helping to build those international bridges, which I found to be incredibly valuable. So thank you, Rudy, for all the work you do, and glad that others got to learn about this today. I am pretty sure, Dave, that you'll be getting some questions and some requests on more details, like how long is the course, how much does it cost, you're raising money for it, what that looks like. So be prepared for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.